Dear ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to be here in presenting the European Commission at this important event. Let me first extend the regards from the colleagues of DG Justice who could not be here today to all of you, and especially regards to Croatia, who took over the decade presidency just 1 year to the day before it becomes the European Union's 28th member state. In my intervention, I will focus on providing the update on the latest Commission activities in the field of Roma inclusion. As you all know, last year in April, the European Commission, by launching the EU Framework for National Roma Integration Strategies, managed to put Roma integration high on the EU's political agenda, but also on member states' national agendas. The EU Framework for National Roma Integration Strategy reflects an unprecedented political commitment by all key players. For the first time, the member states at the highest political level of heads of states and governments agreed to put into place national Roma integration strategies and address the current situation of Roma in 4 key areas. I would like to stress that the EU framework calls on the member states that first of all, they need to ensure that Roma are not discriminated against, but treated like any other EU citizens with equal access to all fundamental rights. Stepping up the fight against discrimination and racism, including those forms affecting Roma people, must be part of a strong approach in each member state. On 21st of May, the Commission adopted its first assessment report on the national Roma integration strategies submitted by the Member States as response to the EU framework for Roma integration. The Commission is pleased to see that all Member States have submitted a strategy, which shows that there is a strong political will to tackle the challenges of Roma integration, exception to Malta, which has no Roma population. The European Commission has looked at all these strategies, and let me tell you that they vary significantly. First, they vary in terms of length and the level of detail given. Second, they vary in terms of ambition, as some set ambitious targets with clear timetable, while others have a rather limited scope. Third, they vary in relation to type and size of Roma population on the territory concerned and the specific challenges member states need to address. And finally, the national strategies varies in terms of the policy area covered. While all EU member states have acknowledged that education and employment are priority areas, and all have also mentioned some measures to fight against discrimination, not all member states have addressed the important issues of access to decent housing and health. This is regrettable because clearly these areas where national action is needed. For example, life expectancy for Roma is 10 years less than the EU average of 76 for men and 82 for women. What's more, a startling report recently released by the Fundamental Rights Agency shows that about 45% of the Roma surveyed live in households lacking an indoor kitchen, toilet, shower or bath, or electricity. The report also shows that 1 in 3 Roma is unemployed, and 20% are not covered by health insurance, and 90% are living below the poverty line. The Commission's message to the Member States is this: we need to extend health and basic social security coverage to Roma people and to improve living conditions, especially in segregated settlements. It is a good news that Member States have delivered on their commitment and presented Roma integration strategies. Presenting national strategy is a first and important step. However, Member States now need to move up a gear and strengthen their efforts with more concrete measures, explicit targets, earmarked funding, and sound monitoring and evaluation. We need more than strategies that exist on paper. We need tangible results in national politics that improves the lives of Europe's 10 to 12 million Roma. We have funds at European level that can be used to finance projects that benefit Roma. However, today's assessment shows that only 12 countries have clearly identified allocation or funding and presented specific amounts for Roma inclusion policy measures in their strategy papers. This includes Bulgaria, Czech Republic, Greece, Latvia, Lithuania, Hungary, Poland, Portugal, Romania, Slovenia, Slovakia, and Sweden. Investing in Roma might not be politically opportune, but it makes economic sense. In these times of crisis, a better economic and social integration of all EU citizens is imperative because otherwise potential talent could go to waste. Roma represent a growing share of the working age population. For example, they make up 1 in 5 new labor market entrants in Bulgaria and Romania. Research by the World Bank suggests full Roma integration could be worth around $500 million a year to the economies of some countries by improving productivity, cutting welfare bills, and boosting tax receipts. Roma integration must not be seen as a cost, but as an investment to the benefit of the country or society. Member States should now work on further specifying and delivering on the actions foreseen in their strategies. As regards to the enlargement countries, the first assessment report by the national Roma integration strategies pays attention also to them. As already outlined and underlined in the EU framework, the EU Roma integration goals are equally relevant to the enlargement countries. The national Roma integration strategies of these countries needs to be reviewed in line with these goals and reflect the comprehensive approach required by the EU framework. This is clearly highlighted in the Commission enlargement strategy and main challenges 2011-2015. In addition, they need to pay particular attention to the facilitating access to personal documents and registration with the local authorities. The current situation of Roma living in poor conditions in enlargement countries has had consequences in terms of increased number of Roma temporarily migrating to EU member states under visa-free regime and even applying for asylum. This can have a negative impact on the visa liberalization, which is one of the greatest achievements towards the integration of the West Balkans into the EU. Therefore, enlargement countries must step up efforts to further integrate their Roma citizens. The national authorities of enlargement countries need to remain committed to take concrete steps in all related areas. The member states have just started their work. They now need to implement their strategies, strengthen them where needed, and put in place a long-lasting framework. The role of regional and local representatives alongside the Roma civil society in the implementation and monitoring of the national strategies will be crucial. We expect that the civil society will keep providing us with the information on the results of national efforts for improving the situation of Roma population. The European Commission, together with the European Parliament, will follow the implementation of the EU framework and the developments in the enlargement countries. The Commission will report publicly about progress made or the lack thereof. Thank you very much for your attention.